birthday, Councilman.
Yeah, really, man.
The tan guy.
We needed to have a little spray tan for the rest of us, because we all look real pale up there.
Oh, thank you so much.
I took them out of the lines box, see if they help.
Oh, yeah. They
Okay.
work. Thanks.
I'm assuming that this is gonna be a comma between the 2 and the 4 there.
No, that would be.
Okay. I think that's my number. Hold on. Let me verify that. 2404-194. March. Well, yep, March is 2786-4105.
Yeah, but-
That's only the AC number.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Before I came.
Yes.
I was like, huh?
Big art.
Oh, okay.
And
And
all
I'm
right.
deal with her. Glasses and everything. Can't begins. All right. Ready?
Ready.
All right, we're gonna call the regular council meeting of the city of Center Line to order. It's Monday, April 3rd, it is 7:30 p.m. We can all please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll call and entertain a motion to excuse Councilman Harensky.
I'll make a motion to excuse Councilman Rinsky.
A motion to support.
Support.
All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Adoption of the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, sir, we do not.
There being none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the agenda.
Do I have support? Support. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next, administrative responses to issues or questions raised during previous meetings.
I don't have anything in my notes on there.
Yeah, nothing. Next, we have audience comments.
Everyone. John Szerzinski. On that last item you mentioned about previous issues mentioned. If a person comes like me to this podium and asks, or mentions things, how, I guess, what is our redress, I guess, next meeting about items that are later on in the agenda, maybe that someone didn't bring up while they're up here, with the redress to that, just call City Hall next day or whatever, I don't know,
Yes.
okay, very good, thank you.
We used to have audience comments at the end,
Correct,
but people were getting angry because the meetings were going so long and they had to wait all the way to the end.
yeah, there were two, beginning like now and at the end for that very reason, so, thank you. The other thing, if I looked on the council actions. Section 2, 4, and 9. And specifically on 9, last meeting. Was talked about for approval of purchase of water meters. And on 9 here, it mentions commercial businesses. Is this something separate from the last meeting on item 8? Where we, I had notes on that about purchasing for over $200,000 meters, waiving the bid, 8 months order time. So is this something different from that, or is that the same thing that you're talking about on that? So that's,
No, this is different.
it is the same thing.
No, it's different.
Oh, it is, okay, good, thank you. Also, if we could have an update on Tenant Van Dyke and Balkan Hall. I know Balkan Hall's a long standing issue, but I like to stay apprised of that. And when I mentioned 2, 4, and 9, just to make sure there's clarity, because I know this agenda is brief for brevity's sake. Because I looked like in the ordinance on some of these things, and in the past that we're updating them and doing a great job on updates. You know, like building code, the fees were updated. You know, are these things just a part of that? Because when I look it up online, I don't see italicized, because it's not adopted yet, so I'm trying to differentiate what's different. Is it a shall, should, amount, dollar amount? So that's why I asked the request that maybe a little bit more when it comes up on the item. So, thank you, and
You said 2 and 4, right?
4-9.
Right.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Being none. Move forward to the audience comments portion of the evening. All right, council action, request for approval of proposed amendments to ordinances, chapter 18.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and City Council, this request is being made due primarily to the fact that one of our facilities has argued that the requirement, the administrative requirement with relation to security of their building or facilities during business hours does not require them under the law to have an armed security officer. All but one facility, open facility, has indicated that they have no problem doing that and have provided armed security officers during business hours. But, you know, because of the argument that it's not in the law, I'm recommending that we amend both the marijuana ordinances in the city to include section 18-406-11H to add subsection 7, and also to 18-423-10H. That same subsection to indicate all facilities must employ and retain an armed state certified security officer on the premises during regular hours of operation. This would go into effect, and the one facility that's saying that they don't have a law now would have a law. And there is no grandfathering, by the way, just.
Why was I under the impression that that was already in here?
Security procedures are outlining specific things in the law, but there is a section in the law that does allow for discretion, administrative discretion as far as rules. And we did require all of these facilities to have armed officers as part of the rules. One such facility did start out having a security person on site, but then their lawyers told them they didn't have to do it because the law doesn't say they have to do it.
Well, it is, federal and state laws though.
Doesn't require an armed security officer.
No,
It
it's a law.
requires, you know, some security applications, but nothing that says they have to have an armed security officer. Certified security officer. Correct. So this is why we're asking for these amendments. There are two separate amendments, but the request is made as together because the verbiage and the additional subsection is identical.
That makes sense. Any questions on that? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that the council waive the reading and approve the proposed amendments to the ordinances, chapter 18 businesses, Article 5 medical marijuana facilities, section 18-406-11H, and chapter 18 businesses, articles 6 marijuana establishments, section 18-423-10H.
I have a motion, do I have support?
Or
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Only makes sense, you want to protect your business. All right, next on the agenda, we have consideration, a request for proposed amendment to ordinance, chapter 10, animal license required.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and City Council, we do have animal control is managed by Macomb County Animal Control for the city of Centerline at no cost to the city. But what we have noticed is that there's currently no specific law internally here in Centerline that we can enforce dog licensing. Macomb County Animal Control can enforce dog licensing law because it's required for Macomb County. But we can't do enforcement. Our people can't do enforcement if they find a dog that is unlicensed. Okay, so this law, this amendment will allow our officers to issue citations for not having a dog license in the city of Center Line. It would allow animal control for Macomb County, already has that allowance under their law, which we've agreed that they are providing the service. But we really don't, I mean, our residents have to follow their laws, just like any other county community. But it becomes an issue of enforcement. And whether or not animal control is gonna come out and say, our officer finds a dog unlicensed, and they have to call animal control with Macomb County and have them come out and issue a ticket.
Really?
Yeah.
So we can't enforce the county's laws even though we're in the
We
county?
have to have our own ordinance for a civil infraction for an unlicensed dog.
Interesting.
So that's what this request is about. It's 1056 of the animal ordinance. It's license required application, and they are required to file for application for license with the county. If they don't, and one of our officers runs across an unlicensed dog and they find out who the dog belongs to, they can write a citation for it.
So this is not an additional requirement. This is already a requirement. This just allows us to enforce that requirement.
Correct.
Seems to me. Any questions on that? If there are none, we'll entertain a motion.
I make the motion that city council waive the reading and approve of the proposed amendment to ordinance chapter 10, animals, article 3, cats, and dogs, section 10-56, license required.
Have a motion, do I have support?
Support.
All in favor, aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next, request for approval of social district permit applications.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and City Council, as you may recall, last year during the festival weekend, there was a social district identified between the businesses of Sandbagger Sports Bar and Teroma's Bar and Lounge, or Beer Garden, I think it really is, but they, did sell some liquor and there were people out there using it. We expect that that'll get better as people become more aware of it. But this is essentially the request to approve the social district permit applications for those two bars. And so that they can operate Friday, June 2nd, to Sunday, June 4th of that weekend. Now, that doesn't restrict, so everybody here knows, us from not being able to do it in the future in other areas. So this is a 1-year permit. So we could essentially, if we come up with other activities in the downtown district, we could have it during those periods as well.
Okay.
So that's essentially what it is a request to approve the permit.
So this is to approve the form?
Yes, it's for us to apply or put the application in, correct? To the state of Michigan, yes. For a social district approval, yes.
So
As you know,
we're applying on their behalf.
local government, you guys have to approve the social district permit for this opportunity. The two bars had to apply for individual bar permits.
Right.
Through their normal district license or their normal license, liquor license. And the DDA did pay their fees for those applications. So but the law says we gotta have at least 2 bars. So they did their part. Now the city's doing their part by approving the social district permit.
Any
Is
questions
that
on
correct?
that?
Yeah. Making
No.
sure.
If there are none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that council approve social district applications for Sandbaggers and Teroma's during the Federal Independence Festival for June 2nd through June 4th, 2023.
Have a motion, do I have support?
Support.
All in favor, aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have Request for approval of public hearing for change on the local election schedule.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and City Council, the city of Centerline currently holds its regular election for local offices at the November odd year election date. The proposal 22-2 passing in November of 2022, there are many changes that will be placed moving forward. With the changes in election laws, one of which is requiring 9 days of early in-person voting. It will become more costly to run an election, as well as having to find somebody to be available for the 9-day early voting. After discussions with the city attorney, city manager, and finance director, it was determined it would be more cost-effective to move our local elections to the November even year election dates. This would not take effect until 2025 election year, which would place our next local election in the year 2026. There are 3 people up for re-election in November of 2025. When the term expires, the council could just vote to fill the vacancies through 2026. Or through the 2026 election. City would be required to hold a public hearing prior to mayor and city council voting on this change, which would include a resolution of approval. Council can either approve or deny the request for a public hearing for a change in the local election year.
So I read this and I'm not understanding why it'd be cheaper to do it in an even year than an odd year.
Because we're actually running 2 additional elections in the odd year. So, because we have potentially the school, Centerline Public Schools or Van Dyke Public Schools wanting to run an election. And then we would have to have another one in possibly August and then again in November. And there's been many municipalities that have gone with just even year elections for their local elections to save the cost that's involved in running an election.
So the school's only allowed to do it on odd years.
Correct. I don't know that they could change their election.
Okay, so this is so we wouldn't have 2 elections in the same year and it wouldn't cost us money doing that.
It could potentially run up to $12,000 to $15,000 to run an election,
Right.
depending on how many election workers we need. And then with the 9-day early voting, we have no idea what the state is going to do with that yet. So we were just trying to find a way to save costs in.
No, that makes sense. I just didn't understand what the difference between even and odd. It was like, so even year it's gonna be cheaper.
Well, no, but I mean, but we're holding an election for mayor and council only in the odd years,
Right, so.
in August.
So then in the even years when we have the governor election.
It'll all-
Together instead of having just the city council election and it just puts it all together into one.
Okay. That makes sense. That was why I needed to get clarification, because I was
That makes sense.
trying to figure out why it was cheaper to do it in even years instead of odd years.
Yeah, no,
So the request in this is to approve the public hearing for the change in the local election schedule. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is
That's
just to have a public hearing. The item, right?
And as you can see, the savings is outlined by the city treasurer and the fiscal impact.
All right, anybody have any other questions on this? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that council approve the request to hold a public hearing for a change in the local election year.
Motion, do I have support? For favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Did you understand that? Good. So do I now. Number 5, request approval of grant agreement with the U.S. Department of Housing Development.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and City Council, as you may recall, the city began the process of developing and putting out a bid for a project that would result in the construction of a 10-unit splash pad to be located at Memorial Park. This project was bid out via the CDBG program through Macomb County. And after the city had been approved for a CDBG grant in the amount of $150,000. However, the multiple efforts to gain bids with the project or with the budget of $150,000 set forth by city council was never achieved, as many bids were received more than 3 times the estimated value of said project. 2021, the city of Centerline was given an opportunity to take advantage of a community project funding through the office of U.S. Congressman Andy Levin for the splash pad project that had at that point been placed on hold. During the United States Congress budget considerations from 2022, the Congress did select the city of Centerline splash pad Memorial Park Improvements Project valued at almost $920,000, which was signed into the law December 20th of 2022. To receive such funding, the city of Centerline must sign a grant agreement with the Department of Housing and Urban Development, government administrator for said grant, and in accordance with city ordinances, formally accept the grant funding. The grant agreement between the Department of Housing and Urban Development and the city of Centerline is made pursuant to the authority of the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023, Public Law 117-328, and the explanatory statement of Division 1 of that act, which was printed in the Senate section of Congressional Record on December 20th of 2022. Therefore, it is my recommendation that the city council approve and authorize myself to sign the proposed grant agreement with the U.S. Department of HUD and authorize acceptance of the grant funding in the amount of $919,930. The city will also select the de minimis option to capture up to 10% of the grant to offset administrative costs. Any questions?
Is there a time limit and we need to use the funds?
There is a typical time limit, but I think in this one here, we had a 2030. 2031.
And of course, we're not gonna wait that long, right?
Of course, Councilman.
Right. Okay.
We are gonna build the splash pad before we lose the money.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Just to be clear though, the new project really is called the Memorial Park Improvements Project. And it does include the full construction of the full scale plan that we had for splash pad, which includes green infrastructure or does. So we are gonna have green infrastructure incorporated into this. This is the big one, the one that we really wanted early on. But it will also include updates to benches and, if I remember correctly, grills. Is that right?
Yeah,
And workout equipment. Okay. So it is an expanded project, but it is a fully appropriated project. And right now, do we have a share on this? What's the amount? Mr. Treasurer?
We're trying not to have a share by using de minimis.
Oh, right, okay.
Otherwise, we have a share of about $83,000, if not more.
So we're gonna try to avoid that, everybody. This is a great program that was effectuated by House Democrats and ultimately became sort of a wave over the past year, and now moving into this year, they're going to be doing more appropriations. Difference is ARPA monies will not be there to support those appropriations. They'll have to get it from general fund in the future. So that money's running out, though, the appropriations from our ARPA funds and CARE funds and all those other ones.
So we've been told.
Should be noted that, as the treasurer pointed out, Davis-Bacon Act must be implemented and included in this. That means that we will see probably about a 20 to 25% increase in cost on salaries because of this requirement. So everybody here knows that. It eats into the cost for sure.
It will be covered though by the money? That was great.
Yeah, it'll be covered by the money. It's just, you know, the splash pad is absolutely the priority on this project.
Okay.
Correct. And, you know, we'll do the splash pad. And if there's money left over, then we'll get to benches and fire or grills. But right now, we think we can do it all.
Okay.
Right, well,
I think I know who wants to.
price ourselves out of there.
Make a motion that the council approve the grant agreement. 2023 community
Project funding between U.S. Department of HUD and authorize acceptance of the grant funding in the amount of $919,930.
Have a motion to have support.
support.
All in favor, aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Request approval for professional engineering services, AEW, for 10 Mile Road water main crossing replacements.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and City Council, this is, we're taking the first step towards a reconstruction of 10 Mile Road.
That's been a long way in the
It
making
has
too.
been a long haul. Since 2015, we have been working with Macomb County Road Commission to establish project scope and secure funding for the reconstruction of 10 Mile Road in the city of Centerline. One such aspect of the project is the water main connections at each of the intersections along 10 Mile Road in Centerline. Those, we feel that it's absolutely important for us to address our underground infrastructure before the reconstruction. So that we don't in the future have to go in there and bust out all the cement work that is being done with this project. We'll have our work done. Macomb County has assured us that storm drains and we don't have sanitary, right?
There is sanitary, but we can rehabilitate after.
It's not under the roadway, right? So that can be pushed out. Water mains have to be done because they are under the roadway. So that's what this request is to professional engineering services for the water main upgrades.
Well, it's better to do it while we got it tore up than to have to tear it up later.
Well, we're gonna tear it up first and then they'll come in and, we'll have ours all patched up. And then they'll come in and tear up our patches. Cause we are gonna be in the ground. How many feet?
Well, it's a pipe bursting, so they're gonna utilize the existing water main and basically push a pipe through a pipe and blow it apart. It needs to have pits on either side of 10 Mile, which will affect the pavement.
And then, they're not going to break our stuff.
Well, they're not going to the pipes, but they have to, whatever we tear up for the pipe bursting. They're gonna tear it up again when they start doing roads and easement area. So our rehab of that area where the pipe bursting is gonna occur is going to be torn up when they come back. to do the-
Only the concrete in a dirt or anything. but not-
Well,
In other words, we want to tear up the bad road to do this instead of the good road to do it.
right,
Okay,
exactly.
They're not gonna redo the pipe.
right, that's.
We
what
don't
I'm
want to
trying
mess with it once they fix it,
Right,
so we want to do it
I just-
before, right? That's what we're saying.
that's,
We're probably not gonna do a complete rehab anyways after we do this. My guess is that we're probably just gonna put some dirt down, throw some seed down. And is within a year, County Road Commission is gonna be out there tearing everything up. And that includes parts of the easements and right of ways. Right, so we still have to figure out how much of the, I'm hoping that our trees were planted far enough back so that they won't mess with our trees. That we just planted along.
That would be
10 Mile Road
nice.
here in front
over
of
there
there
for the city hall.
complex, but the good news on that is those trees could be moved. If need be, without any major damage to the trees themselves. They could be relocated. And then we'll just plant again at the next opportunity we get some trees.
So there's no way we can coordinate this where it all is tore up at the same time instead of putting it back together and then tearing it up again.
I don't know. I doubt it.
It's unlikely.
We're 2024. We'd like to get this thing done in calendar year 23. Fiscal year 20. Lot of these.
They're not gonna wait for us to get it done.
No,
They're gonna be working and working and they're gonna get their stuff done. So they're not gonna wait for us.
no. They are not.
All right, any questions on that? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I make the motion that council approve the engineering services with AEW, the 10 Mile water main crossing replacement, pipe bursting in the amount of not to exceed 26,343.80, and authorize the city manager to execute the proposal.
Have a motion to have support.
Support.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, request for approval of the intergovernmental support agreement between the United States Army Garrison Detroit Arsenal and the City of Center Line for solid waste recycling management services.
So before we move on to this project, I want to preface it with the fact that today I learned that there may be an issue with GFL and the scope of the work that is expected by the U.S. Army of our contractor. But I do think that we can still move forward on the request to approve this contract with the USAG DTA. And should GFL choose to not move forward on the project, that simply would mean that GFL would be out and we would work towards the goal of trying to get somebody else in that can do all of the meet all the expectations of the what they call the performance work statement. And in that work statement, there are some minor issues that we need to work through. I'm meeting with the Army tomorrow morning at 10:30 to see if that's possible. Should we be able to work that out, then we'll just move forward after this approval tonight, right? If that doesn't work out tomorrow at 10:30, then even with your approval, I'll simply just notify you that we couldn't move forward on the contract with GFL. But that won't mean that we won't be able to move forward. We should be able to still reach out to other vendors and see if they can provide us with or meet the expectations of the PWS and ultimately give us a new pricing for the project. The U.S. Army's been really good about trying to work through this stuff, but many of these items that they have in the PWS are environmental requirements of the federal government and may not necessarily be environmental requirements of the state of Michigan. So many of the contractors here in Michigan right now have the Michigan guidelines that they have to meet. And so they're not as stringent as EPA guidelines that are set forth for federal installations, right? Outside of the gates of the installation, the rules are a little less stringent. I'll say a lot less stringent. On the installation, there are federal laws, there are federal rules that they have to follow. So again, tonight is to approve what I believe will be a contract with GFL, but just wanted you guys to be aware of the fact or preface this vote with the fact that this could fall apart tomorrow morning.
So you want us to give you the opportunity to let it fall apart?
Or
that.
move forward. Yeah, because I might be able to move forward with this thing if I can get these guys to relax on some of the expectations or allow us to reprice based on the expectations. Right? Because the reality is GFL probably could do everything that's expected. They just didn't price it for that. They priced it for just picking up the trash and taking it off the base. But there's more to it.
All right, any questions on that? Being none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that council waive the reading of IGSA between the USAG DTA and the city of Center Line for solid waste recycling management services in the amount of no less than $196,922.
A motion to have support.
Support.
All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Request for approval to purchase an Eagles Perch Agile Shield Post.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and City Council, this is a defense item for the public safety that I will have the director come up and give you details and answer any questions you may have regarding this purchase. Director. Krasinski?
Yes, sir. This is a free shield system that we're requesting. Our, the shield that we had before, we had a training accident and it failed on us. So we have to replace it. This system, as we were looking at other shields, the vendor has this shield system. They're two level 4 shields, which you can take they'll protect you from a 308 round. And it's, for lack of better terms, it's a dolly that they sit on, one tucked into the other. And this, you push them forward, like going through schools and stuff. Example, the problem they had down in Texas when he was locked into the room, and he was shooting through the doors. We could push this down the hallway, protect everybody going there. No rounds would get through it. And then there's a third shield attached to the back, so when we got to where we needed, we could split off and then enter through 2 different directions. And the officers would be protected. Though it's a great system because the wheels not only go forward and backwards, but they slide sideways too. It's wheels and wheels. And then you can pivot wherever you want. Where to go, depending, even walking, going up and down stairs, it's designed to do that. It would cover all our possible needs in the future, specific to any type of actor shooter situations in a building where there's a lot of glass doors, windows and stuff like that, where our officer's safety is obviously paramount, but we wouldn't have the ability to approach it as such without the support.
Have you seen a demo of this? Personally seen a demo?
Of it
Besides the
working?
video? Yeah. Besides the video?
No, I've been there. I saw the actual product. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we went down. In fact, if I may, this project, this goes for close to $30,000. Now, when I was there with Deputy Chief Randazzo, we were looking at, just to get this one, we were talking to the sales rep. We said, hey, this is a great system. This would be great. Can we manipulate, change some of these shields around so it could be more cost effective for us? There's no way we can afford this. And he called the president of the company and talked to the vendor where we were at. And we got this about $29,000 system for selling us for 20 grand. Because he said he wouldn't be comfortable with us moving it around, that he will do what he could to lower the price to where we can make it affordable for us.
Well, I'm all for protecting our guys and protecting our peoples. Sounds like a good deal to me.
$20,000 though.
Yeah, what do we got for the budget on that?
Well, we plan on using the remainder of our drug forfeiture money to augment as much of it as we.
So. 265, is that forfeiture money? Okay. So forfeiture money of 10,728.80. And then the remainder would come out of the public safety fund, which is the 9,271.20.
So we would only be spending $9,271.
Out of the public safety fund. It's not coming out of the general.
So it is coming out of general fund, because general fund support.
No.
Yeah, now it is public safety.
Okay, so the drug forfeiture money funds, okay? How much is that being used for this Eagle purchase system?
We have what?
728.80.
So, yeah.
Okay. Just because this is my reasoning is that Centerline has a SWAT on us, right? We don't partner with Warren or any other department when we go in. Is that true?
We have our own team. We only go,
Team, and we would never be using Warren's.
we have our own equipment.
And the one that we're replacing was
I'll
destroyed.
be happy to show you what happened after the council. You'll understand.
You got a video of it.
Just,
Yes, but it's something that he just needs to see.
One of our officers was injured during a training opportunity for the TRU. And it was because of the shield that we had failed.
Cause I am gonna get questions. I can already see this by, especially one person. How many times have we had to use the instrument that was destroyed? How many times have we used it in actual real live?
It depends on the situation. We don't, I'll be honest with you, we don't keep tabs. We use what we have to do depending on the circumstances.
Has
If
it
we
been,
were going in with a barricaded gunman, that type of thing, depending on what the outlook of the house is. We used it the last time on one. On Dale, we had to go over and poach the house on the side, we used it then.
Because what I was trying to get is like, this would be a very expensive training equipment if it was only used in training.
No, it's not used, the focus of this is not to be used in training. That's why we upgraded to a level 4, because we can take everything from a 308 round now. With those things.
I just. And
it is a long-term investment too.
Yeah, there's no expiration, there's no expiration date on hard armor. Only on body armor that they have, there's an expiration date on. But actually rigid hard armor, there's no expiration. Plus, we also keep ours in a controlled environment.
that's all good information.
Is it budgeted?
No.
Is it in the budget? Is it, like, do we have a line item?
Available
Yes.
Next year.
next year. This is going for fiscal year 24.
Correct. I don't see it being delivered before July first.
There you go.
Director knows something that I don't.
Director, do you know something he doesn't?
No, I told them everything. I can't. Look, that's a problem. It's truly a problem. We're ordering stuff that we need, for example, turnout here,
Right.
and we're waiting. We're actually in another fiscal budget year before the stuff even arrives. And it's a nightmare.
Well, I know that there are a lot of people out there and there are a lot of situations that come up that we have to be ready for. And
More so than ever.
I want our guys to be ready and protected. I would hate to have this council make a decision on saving some money and have that result in us losing an officer. That's just my thoughts on the subject. Are there any other questions? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that the council approve the request to purchase an Eagles purchase agile shield post in the amount of $20,000 from Close Quarters Tactical.
Have a motion, do I have support?
Support.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, next on the agenda, we have request for approval of a revised water and sewer fee schedule.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and city council members, as part of the city administration's ongoing efforts to improve effective, efficient services to the public, our team has continued to review and assess said services and applicable fees for said service. Since the beginning of the fiscal year, the Water Sewer Fund has committed or needs to commit to the following cash outlays that were not anticipated when the budget rate structures for the current fiscal year were developed. As you can see, there are 3, 6, 9, 10 total projects totaling $541,538.50. Each of the above costs has decreased our estimated cash position as of June 30th of 2023 by a total of $541,538.50. Last year, we anticipated having $534,990 as of June 30th. Projections are continue our cash position as of June 30th will be a negative $7,784.50, which is unacceptable, assuming all cash flows occur by June 30th as projected. Due to the important seat cost identified above and the millions of dollars of capital improvements that have been identified by the city engineer, which are mostly mandated by the state of Michigan, the city of Centerline will need to increase rates at a higher level than previously recommended. in order to offset some of the cash flow issues that may result if the city continues to experience unanticipated repairs. The city treasurer is recommending that the fixed monthly maintenance fees to be implemented July 1, 2023, be implemented with the next billing cycle. So we want to move that up to the next billing cycle that covers March 1st through April 30th, and payments due June 30th of 2023. Change is an additional $10 per bill for 2,428 residential customers. Increased fixed rate will result in an additional $36,660 per billing cycle and $38,460 for all accounts per billing cycle, for $230,760 over the course of 1 full year. So this will be generating additional monies to cover anticipated costs that we have listed here. And that increase, excuse me, I wanted to point out the administration maintains its previous recommendation that water rates increase by 5%. Sewer rates increase also by 5% effective for bills billed after June 30th, 23. Any questions for the city treasurer, who is here to answer any additional questions? But I do believe that this is all stuff that we discussed previously.
This was on the water bill, wasn't it? The thing that went out on water, that was the same
Is,
thing.
yeah, is this in addition to the $10 that we've already approved?
I'll let the city treasurer answer that question.
This would be council's opportunity to officially approve the $10 increase that was discussed at the last meeting,
And that went out in the innovator?
correct?
Yeah.
And also to officially approve the previously proposed 5% water and 5% sewer rate increase, which was discussed last year, so we can at least put that out with the next billing. And then reaffirm that whatever GWLA charges our commercial and industrial customers for industrial waste, that those charges be passed on dollar for dollar to those particular customers. We did find out from GLWA that water rates are going up by
8.5%.
8.5% for water and sewer, so that gives us a little cushion for the people who may not pay their bills on time. So it's a three-parter. Effective May 1st is the $10 for the fixed rate. Effective July 1st would be the 5 and 5 for the variable water and sewer rates. And also the reaffirmation of the whatever GLWA charges our industrial and commercial customers for waste, that be passed along at a dollar for dollar.
How much of an increase is this going to be on our average citizen?
Well, the $10 will be about $60 a year, and I'm trying to remember what the 10% is. What did we say average use was? 7 units, I want to say. I remember. Let's figure it out at 7 units.
I think we are talking $12. Is that right? Oh, wait, no, it's
Mostly by gallons, so.
Like a lot of units.
6.
I can figure it out by looking at it.
For the course of a year, at 7, oops. Wrong number. Divided by 16. And it is $22.68 on variable cost over the course of a year. It's a little over $3 a month. Or $3 a billing cycle. 2 months. 2 months, so $1.50 a month.
Great.
The question.
5 cents a day.
That's on top of the 5 we're already doing,
The 10.
through 10.
$1.
not impressive.
So $11.50.
We're gonna,
So that's $11.50.
right.
But $11.50 a month if you include both.
Well, so wait a minute, the $10, if we,
I'm sorry, it's $6.50 a month. You include both. Yeah.
$6.50 a month. Well, we're not getting the funding from the state. In order to do these mandates that they're telling us that we have to do. And we are
We are
working,
applying for funding, just so you know, to help us, but
we are working on that. So I guess the question would be. If we were to get some funding from the state on these mandates. That they're giving us, and it was to turn around. Would we be taking that money, giving it back?
The recommendation would be no, because we are still short of the target of $1.3 million a year to fund all of our existing capital needs and debt payments for the next 20 years. So even if you do receive some state funding, I don't see that offsetting all or most of the requirements, many of which are state mandated, some of which, like water meters, have to be replaced. So we've got to replace water meters, but it's maybe putting out the rate increase at a lower or a slower rate, where we're building up to that 1.3 million, rather than bang, we have to do it now because we've got $700,000 of debt payments a year, and then we need something to do something else with.
Makes sense,
you know, if we have a water line that collapses.
Right. We get repaired.
right? No, that makes sense. Any other questions on that? There being none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that council adopt new bi-monthly meter size rate structure effective with the first billing cycle billed after April 30th. Reaffirm and adopt the new consumption rate structure for water and sewer system effective with the first cycle billed after June 30th, 2023. Confirm that whatever industrial waste surcharges are assessed to commercial business by the Great Lakes Water Authority, the city charges those rates accordingly.
Have a motion, to have support?
Support.
All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries, thank you. Next, we have consideration for, thank you very much, by the way. Consideration for request to collect 2023 Macomb Intermediate School District property taxes 50/50 summer and winter.
Well, this is an annual thing, and so it is a consideration for 50% summer and 50% winter. And that's in accordance with revised school code MCL section 380.1611, section 1. City has received revised requests from the Macomb Intermediate School District to collect 50% of annual school property taxes in the summer and 50% in the winter. District is seeking city council's approval to collect the tax on behalf of the district. 22 total levy is 4.63 mils. We have been advised by the MISD that Centerline Roseville are the only two cities in the county to reject their request to collect 100% of the taxes in the summer. City council has the option to either approve or reject the revised request of the district for the next tax year. Recommendation is to approve.
So they're not requesting 100%, they're requesting 50/50,
50/50.
which is what we like to do.
This is the revised, yeah.
Spread it out, all right. Any questions on that? Giving us what we want, I guess we wouldn't have any questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that the city we want to approve the revised request of the district for the next tax year for the Macomb Intermediate School District property taxes. Summer, 50% winter.
Have a motion, do I have support? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, thank you. Next, we have consideration of request to collect 2023 Macomb Community College property taxes 100% in the summer.
Same.
Same.
Different rules, different laws, but different request. I guess consideration for them for 100% in the summer.
And
So we would
we usually say no because we do 50/50.
There's no recommendation here. The fiscal impact, Joe, do you have a recommendation from your office or no?
In terms of collecting it or not, there is no significant fiscal impact. That's paperwork and adjustments, that's settlement time.
So if we go 50-50, we're causing you more work, Joe?
Well, the county, template doesn't, have a 50-50 split. So, I have to do manual entry to the spreadsheet, and if I have an error, usually that's where it is.
I trust you wouldn't make any errors.
He just made a good point, though. He said the county's template.
Right.
So the county has pretty much said,
We're using a 30-year-old process for settling property taxes, which honestly hasn't been used for quite a while.
because you know, as we pointed out earlier, Roseville and us are the only ones in the county out of 21 communities, 27 communities. But
Well, we always have been a pretty independent community. It's our Independence Festival coming up in June.
That's right.
But you know, I always feel that the tax bill is pretty high. Anything we can do to relieve that, spread it out a little bit for people. It's always helpful, so. You know, whether you pay it all at once or you pay it broken up, you hold on to that 50% for another 6 months, you know. Right. Use it for food and stuff. I'm both my, that's married to me, really. You guys think?
City treasurer said it wasn't that big of a fiscal impact on the residents, right?
Not
Not as much.
fiscal impact on us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as, yeah. So
I think it's more of an impact on the residents than it is on us. I would say. If we want to do 50-50, I feel like we should just still stick with 50-50. Keep going what we've done. I agree. Make that a motion.
So the motion would be to deny, yeah, so I'll make a motion that we deny the request of the paying 100% of taxes to Macomb Community College in the summer.
I have a motion, do I have support?
Or,
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I think Mayor Taylor's a wise man, so. Following in, sticking with those guys makes sense. All right, next on the agenda, discussion of application for Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan.
sorry, I just received a notice that we have a flood watch.
Yes, we do.
All right, consideration to approve the application for the Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan, schedule a public hearing to approve proceeding with application and schedule. Upon the strong recommendation of the state administration is recommending the city pursue the loan application. By making application, the city is not committing to moving ahead with the project or accepting the loan. Final decision on acceptance of the loan will likely need to be made sometime in September, October. So this really is just for the scheduling of proceeding with the application and scheduling for public hearing. In order for the city to submit the application by March 1st or May 1st, 2023, we need to hold the public hearing and then pass resolution supporting the loan application. We have tentative date as well. I don't see it on here, but I believe it was April 27th. About right, but we can, this board can select whatever day you want to have the meeting. But it is necessary for us to have it before the May 1st deadline. Kind of putting you guys in a,
Yeah, I do not see the tentative date.
well, it just, that's tentative administratively.
Got it.
you guys can say no to that date or, go with a Monday or, earlier that week. Just it needs to be done before.
May 1st.
we can Say that we didn't.
All right, any questions on that? All right, there being none, I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion, the council approve proceeding with the application and scheduling of a public hearing for the Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan.
Have a motion, do I have support?
Support.
All in favor, aye.
Right.
Opposed, motion carries.
Support me today.
Hmm.
Yeah, see.
No, then we don't have a hearing.
People out here were all bashful.
Right.
All right.
You
Next.
guys, I'll have Janice reach out to you with some dates and times and, or you guys can send in whatever you think are gonna work on your schedules.
Right.
That Janice can put together.
Sounds good. All right, next we have the consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda that anybody in the audience would like to hold for individual consideration?
Yeah, number two, the minutes, but if there's a specific question, how does that get addressed if you don't know what it is? Do I state it, my concern? If something's on the minutes from the prior meeting?
Yes. Yes, and you can.
Okay, could I do that now?
No,
Okay.
but you can when we bring it up.
Okay.
Is there anything on the agenda that anybody on council would like to vote for individual consideration? I would like number 4. All right, I'll entertain a motion on the rest of the consent agenda.
I would like to make a motion that we approve items number 1, 3, 5, and 6 under the consent agenda.
Have a motion, do I have support? Or all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, number 2, the minutes. What did you have, sir? Maybe could you come up, please?
Hello again. March 6th meeting. Council action 2. For the approval, which was approved for the contracting Memorial Park football field entrance. When that is done, will that reflect who provided that monies? How will it be indicated? Will it be indicated on site, like a marker?
They have asked that they not be identified. Outside of the fact that they, when they first gave us the check, we identified the company. But they have not asked for any kind of recognition of their donation on site.
Nothing in the minutes or site from.
I believe there was
Part of it?
discussion in previous minutes.
Yes. Those previous
Yeah.
minutes.
Oh, it wasn't previous?
Yeah.
The company that made the donation doesn't really want to make a big deal out of it. It's a pretty significant donation, and if it were up to me, I'd be telling everybody who it was. They're kind of, their attorney is asking for, anonymity. Although we did announce the company early on when it was first made, the check was first cut, so.
Thanks. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from March 6th.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from March.
And motion to have support. Or all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have requests for approval of budget meeting schedule. I am not able to attend the meeting on the 8th. So I don't know if you want to change it or if you guys would like to do it without me. Too much paperwork. right?
Two Mondays following the city council meeting in May, correct?
Yeah, the 8th and the 15th.
Yeah.
So,
That is 135 and 152.
Right, right.
so, can we do the 15th and the 22nd? Is that too close?
Check my.
No, because that gives council more time to read the budget document. You're supposed to read it?
Wow.
Wow.
Nobody told me that.
Well, let's put it that way then. In order to allow council to have more time to read the budget document, I'm recommending that we change the 8th to the 22nd.
8/15 to 8/22.
Technically, it's due the second Monday in May, which would have been the 8th. Last year we were early by what, 2-3 days? I think we got out on the Friday before the Monday.
Well, so we would be getting it mailed to us on a Friday and then have to read it by the 8th, is that?
That's technically when it's due. We're trying to get it done sooner, so
Okay,
we're still, I'm still waiting for departments to submit their requests.
then definitely I would like to move it to the 15th and the 22nd.
All right,
I would like the extra time as well.
I have a motion. Do I have support?
Or
All in favor? Aye.
So let me just make sure, 5:15 and 5:22.
Yes, 6 P.M.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Who made second, who's second on that?
Thank you. I love it when a plan comes together.
Alright.
All right, next we have council comments. Councilman Bullock.
Could we get an update on the Iron Bell Trail?
No. Want to give an update? Yep. Economic Development Director, Brandon Jonas is the administrator, getting that project moving forward. And if you have any questions for the city engineer, he's here tonight as well, so. But Brandon probably. can give
Yeah, the
you-
latest I have, that it's gonna begin production this month. Once the weather starts to cooperate, which it sounds like it is. I believe April 15th was the date that we initially set. So I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks it'll get started.
Awesome. Thank you. That's it for me.
That's it. All right. Councilman Bachman.
Sean still back there? Yeah. Thank you for what you've done on the Easter for the kids,
Yes.
even though it's raining a little cold.
Yes, well done.
Good job.
Thank you.
So,
Basil.
yeah, as always, what she does over there in the Parks and Rec. So, but that's it for me.
All right, birthday boy.
Yes, thank you.
Councilman
Happy
Bullock.
birthday.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
birthday.
During this winter break, lots of good, story times going on, at the library now in programs. Listening in, there's a bunch of stuff going on there this week. If our city manager can talk about Vulcan Hall, I had two birds with one stone. Let's see, I had the 10 Mile and Van Dyke sign I saw was repainted. I think it looks better. I don't know what you guys thought about it, if you saw it or anything. I think it looks better. Easier to read, so I appreciate that. I think our residents do too, or I hope. I haven't. Of course, when something good happens, they don't say anything,
Yeah,
right?
you wouldn't see anything.
Right.
So I appreciate it. So
Well, them not saying anything at all is
But
probably
yes,
just as good.
yeah. Also, I have a question about the overtime for February. Is that's a pretty big number for our least days of the month in the year. And no, I don't think there was anything extra going on this month, was there, that I wasn't aware of? Because 525 hours of overtime. in my opinion, that's higher than usual than what we've seen. So is there anything that attributed to the more of the overtime hours this, for the month of February?
A lot of that to do with schooling and training that we were getting, NFR training and stuff like that off of the time.
525 hours. 92 was miscellaneous. I have no idea what's in that. Maybe we could talk later. So you can let, 92 hours, 116 in training, which the director, 132 of desk and 125 in road coverage. To me, that just seems like a lot. But maybe we can just get together and you can just guide me through. 'Cause I don't usually see it that high, usually it's around 300. And I think we're all good with that from the, it's consistent, so. Just my thoughts on that, so. That's all I have, man.
All right. Happy Easter
Yeah.
to everybody coming up next Sunday. Everybody has a great day. When is our city cleanup day? 12th.
12?
Is that right? Is it the 12th?
I tried to go on our website to see it and I could not find it, which was, I found what it was in 2019.
If I'm not mistaken, it's the 13th and it was in the last water bill.
Yeah, it was, but I just didn't have the water bill with me and I was thinking, I wanted to mention it to everybody tonight. And so I thought, well, I better know the date. So I went to look it up and I couldn't find it.
May 13th, second Saturday.
So if I can't find it, I don't think our citizens can find it. So we should take a look at the website and make sure there's no calendar or anything. So I couldn't find.
Checking
the
out.
date.
Yep, I'm on it right now.
I just want everybody to know what it is so they make sure that they get their stuff out and they can take advantage of city cleanup day. Beautifications Commission is going to meet Wednesday at 7:30. Is that here or is that at the rec building? It's here.
We're talking about verification.
I don't believe it's 13th. There's another city function on that day.
We haven't discussed that.
Oh, okay. Because I know there was discussion prior to scheduling, we got conflicted with another matter.
Okay. Well, if we can figure it out, get it out to the citizens so they know.
There's the last one on there is 2021. So could have her address that.
Yeah, I mean, I could find past years, but I couldn't find this year.
Yeah, I just did a search for the cleanup day and it's only showing 21.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. So we need to make sure that we are on top of that. People have access to that information. But Beautification Commission has done a fine job for many, many years, keeping this city beautiful and working on the gardens and stuff like that. And we've had a lot of fine ladies that have worked for us and gentlemen for many years, and many of them are retiring and no longer going to be with us. And so we need people to step up and help out. So if anybody's interested in beautifying our city, I will see you Wednesday at 7:30 here.
Mayor, if I may. Actually, I don't know how it happened, but Dennis, not you, Dennis, the other one. Him and Gary.
Oh, Dennis,
Yeah.
It's because the meeting's been set for 6:30.
Oh, it's 6:30?
Yeah, so I don't know if they're, I know that it was gonna be brought up to get the meeting changed to 6:30. I know that, because I explained to them, you have to go before council to get that changed, the time changed.
Okay, so it's at 6:30?
Yeah, so, and I will be there because I was added to that commission.
Okay.
very nice.
You got
Thank you,
volunteers?
James. Thank you. Yeah, about told, right?
So let's make that 6:30 here at council. And Janice and I will be here.
That might be there too.
Okay.
So. But no, really, it's a great team of people and They're involved in the light up the sky, they're involved in the Halloween decorations, they're involved in a lot of things,
Gardens.
gardens, all that. Memorial Field, improvements. Have we got with the school in regards to including Panthers or anything school related on the sign?
Yeah, I remember talking about that last one, yeah.
Have we moved forward? Has anybody talked to them about that?
Not recently, I thought we were waiting on them to sort of tell us what they wanted, but
Well, I
we
think,
can certainly follow up.
yeah, we should meet and talk about that. To find out, what they would like to see and some kind of coordinate that before we get it built. So that we don't have to just add on to it and make it part of the structure.
Are they gonna wanna pay?
That's something that we need to discuss.
Right, and they technically could build it too, if they wanted to, because they built other stuff before.
Well, I mean, we want it to be part of the whole facade
Right,
of the thing, and we want it to fit in. But, whether it be the school or the mom and dad's club or whoever, they're gonna want something, home of the Panthers or something on there, and so.
There's a spot for them. We created or designed the entrance with the two towers, one of which is gonna have the city logo on it. The other one's blank right now.
So let's include them in that discussion before we get too far down the road. So that we can have that done. I think it's really important to the kids and to the school and to the city. To have that on there, so. I'd just like to see it.
Okay.
And then, alcohol, segue right into
oh,
the,
yeah, well done.
oh wait, I did wanna, yeah.
Yeah.
We were in Momentum Magazine.
Yeah.
By the way, if you happen to see that anywhere. Usually it's out in doctor's offices and other places like that, city places and the county. And it talks about our partnership, Centerline partnership with a local foundation, the Centerline Festival Foundation, which is the foundation that we have here in Centerline that puts on all of our events throughout the year, the Independence Festival, the Beer Fest, and the Halloween Town. And there's a nice little article in here about it, and so if you have the opportunity to read it, I'm not gonna read it to everybody, but
Well,
if you have the opportunity to see it, it's a nice little thing that they put in the Macomb County Momentum Magazine. All right, city manager comments.
I have no updates for Balkan Hall or 10 Mile and Van Dyke. But what I do have is, we are, anticipating grand openings of 2 coffee shops in the city. One is the, Grounds and Gather, which is.
Gathering grounds.
Gather and Grounds, I'm sorry, provided, through our awesome program, or school Rising Stars Academy. Is for those of you that don't know, the public, Rising Stars Academies, provides, training and job opportunities for adults with, physical or mental disabilities. They started out working mostly with autistic adults, and now it's expanded to, disabled adults, with various different disabilities. They have expanded exponentially over the last year and a half, 2 years. Gather and Grounds is, their, contribution to, the DDA, the downtown district. It is a coffee shop / bakery. So the baked goods and the coffee are gonna be, provided to you by the, students and staff of, Rising Star Academy. And this is a really, really great addition. They're, at 25709 Van Dyke. And, what I heard today is it looks like they're going to be grand opening on April 14th of next month. So it's a great thing, great addition. And then the other one is Big B Coffee. They're gonna be opening up probably sometime in May? Is that what I heard the last time? Or is it sooner?
Right before the Independence Festival, so they can maybe,
I haven't heard of official.
They haven't given us an official date.
I hope they make it right before the Independence Festival.
Be good.
So help.
So there is a lot of economic development activity going on right now, believe it or not. We have spoken to the owners of Tequera Alma. They are hoping to expand their operations, their business. It's a new owner that's taken over the business. In addition to that, we have at least two others that are in the process. Burger One is going to be opening soon, over at the old Freder Plaza. What used to be there, Beirut? Subway? No, it's not in the
old
subway. I thought it was the Beirut.
Your Beirut Bistro?
Yeah, I think it's in that one there. We also have another business that is going to be, starting up soon, in the old PVH building. Would we call it a business, incubator, at that location? So many of the buildings that we have been watching for years be vacant are now starting to be occupied, and a lot of young business owners are coming in and filling up these spaces. So I think that we have good news in the sense that the downtown is finally starting to move forward with a lot of new investments. Once again this year, our property values were at the top of Macomb County. So, and that's across the board. Even the commercial side, property values went up a lot more this year than it had in the past. So we are seeing good numbers across the board, industrial, commercial, and residential. And the residential is something that the city should be very proud of. 4 years, 67% increase in market value. That's huge.
Very nice.
Not very many cities in Michigan that can make that claim. So,
Well, we're doing a lot of good things.
yep. We keep hearing possible things for Van Dyke, but Van Dyke and 10 Mile. Bunch of filament.
So I have spoken with an interested party that has made multiple offers on that piece of property. Unfortunately, the owner of that property is not interested in anything less than his asking, which is, in my opinion, almost double in what that property is worth. Because you won't really be able to put a drive, it would be very challenging to put a drive-through on that piece of property.
Even if they got an alley vacation or partial alley vacation, the envelope size is give or take 20 square feet. Smaller than what it needs to be.
Needs to be.
It's not much, 20 square feet, but for, national franchises and those kinds of, they pretty much stick to a number as far as size of the envelope. So, finding something for that small space is gonna be tough. But Brandon's been really pushing it hard. We have numerous vacant parcels that are available now. So that gives us more options to push towards investors. But we're on a good track.
Seems like it's the perfect size for a Jack in the Box. Too bad they weren't still around.
Well, you're in Texas.
Wow. Those were good burgers. But that's it.
That's-
I can't really think of anything else. We have 14. We have 11. Marijuana businesses open now. If I remember, if I've got my numbers correct. And 4 that are still within either not moving with their project or moving so slow that we have no idea when they're gonna to start putting shovels in the ground. Probably, what's important now is we do have, the addition of Lemonade, which is on, Sherwood, south of 10, is open now, and, who's the other one? Just approved. Lemonade and, sorry? Leaf and Bud, that's it. Then we're dealing with a little bit of an issue there with Leaf and Bud. They put up lights for the holidays and decided that they wanted to keep them up.
Oh, that place, yes.
And the lights are on the fencing, but, our ordinance enforcement officers are working with, the owner there to rectify that situation. As I've said all along, there's been no issues other than, continuous parking violations on Liberal. Which we are, we hope we dealt with, but
Yeah, they got a big sign next to it, said park here on the dirt, on that big muddy patch of dirt.
yeah, I'm not sure if they have a parking agreement with them or not, but, I've talked to one of the property owners there and they're not happy with that, so.
They're always busy.
The good news is Joyology, as it's known at that site, may ultimately end up on Sherwood. Because they're finding out that the site that they have there is just not.
Too small.
But they do own another building, or they're leasing another building in Sherwood that, they're trying to get up and running. And hopefully that'll be an opportunity for them to move their entire operation over there.
We do have an ordinance against parking on grass, right?
Yes, sir.
Dirt. And we
We're
are
not allowed to
enforcing,
park on dirt or grass.
and we are enforcing that there.
Hard surface.
We are enforcing that there.
When officers see it, I believe that they are, they are ordinance support. When it comes to that, it's a zoning violation. So that's enforceable by ordinance enforcement. Public parking or parking on a public street illegally, that's handled by our officers and they are writing tickets. Seen them out there myself with their lights going and everything, so. But they are still, violating the law. The customers at that particular location. And I don't know what else we can do now. We've got signs up on both sides of the street, multiple signs. Officers are writing tickets. And people don't care. They're ignorant to the law, and it's unfortunate, but if they get caught, they're gonna be looking at a pretty significant, parking fine. What is it? The 65? I'm sorry, 65. That's an awful lot more than what they probably are paying for their products that they're purchasing at the, facility, so. Who knows?
All right, anything else?
No, sir.
There was an issue with the signs at the one there on, Service Drive, the signs on the outside fence.
Oh, the banners?
Yeah,
Yeah, those are down now.
okay.
Yeah, ordinance enforcement handled that, as soon as we saw, the first, banners go up. They did have permit for, the
Time.
30-day, twice a year kind of thing, but, they exceeded that time and, Mr. Petroff and Mr. Allen were successful in getting those removed, so. They know the rules.
All right, anything else? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to have support. Favor aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh,
I need to use your signature on something, but I left it in my office. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Dennis.
Right,
Dennis.